Okay, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. How does my audio sound? Looks like you have one in the room waiting. Uh-oh, lost the screen. Got it back. Who's in the room? How do I sound? How's my audio sound? All right, send all questions to KenoThomas@gmail.com. Now, hey Cody, how are you, buddy? Does my audio sound okay? All right. Audio sounds good. Whoever's in the room, please type in the test type that you were taking and the location. It doesn't have to be city. It could just be the state, and that's fine with me. But if you want to put in the city, that's cool. And also, please hit the like button or dislike button, whichever one you choose to do. So to jump right in, the first thing I want to talk about is Hayden, that you may or may not have seen over the past couple of weeks, has passed the ASTB with a competitive score. He exceeded 50. I think it was like a 52. And if you exceed 50, you're in the game, definitely. So shout out to him. And let's see here. Let's see. All right. And Mr. Boiler, I promised Mr. Boiler I worked with him this week, and he sent me a question. Okay, there is the question. Okay. Alrighty. I might have it, but give me a second here, guys, because I have to rotate it. So I'm going to snip it and rotate it. I promised Nick that his question would be the first question that I would address this evening. So, there, and we have that file, and we'll open it up. Not you. We'll go to you. There, and there we have it. And let's rotate this thing. And hey Maria, how are you? Okay, Nick, glad to see you. We're going to address your question first, as I told you I would. Okay, and This is not a digital format. It's in picture format, so I'm not able to kind of copy and paste it for the room. But I will read it, and I will reread it, and when I recap. Okay, so the question reads as follows. A private pilot needs to calculate how much fuel is needed for an upcoming trip in his vintage Waco biplane. The biplane's Jacob B2M radial engine consumes, and this is where the important part comes in, 15 gallons per hour at the aircraft's cruising speed of 120 miles per hour. All right, so when the numbers start coming in, that's when we really want to start paying attention. GPH means gallons per hour. And this is when we're flying at 120 miles per hour. And then the second entry says it burns 18 gallons per hour at speeds above 200 miles per hour. So I'm going to say plus 200 mph. So the question then states, the plane will take off from Love Field in Fort Worth. So I'll just put FTW, Fort Worth, and fly 120 miles at cruising speed, which is 120. So we'll be going 120 miles per hour for 1 hour. All right, so I just deduced that because you're going to fly for 120 miles at cruising speed at 120 miles per hour. So it's going to take us 1 hour to do that. And then 30 minutes near its top speed at 214 miles per hour, so plus 200. So basically what we're going to have is we're going to have our 15 GPH play in here, gallons per hour. So that means we're going to burn 15 gallons here. And for the 30-minute part, we're going to be burning about 18 gallons per hour because we're going to fly at 214 miles per hour for 30 minutes. So at that point, we will burn 9 gallons of fuel. Now, you would say, okay, well, that's just 24, and that is not any of the answers. Our answers are 21.5, 29 gallons, and there's more information, that's why. 38 gallons and 48.5. Now, I would just be inclined to go with 29 because if the pilot must put in enough fuel for the trip, an additional 5 gallons, boom, 29 gallons of fuel is going to be required. Okay, so that's the answer, 29. So to recap, a private pilot needs to calculate how much fuel is needed for an upcoming trip of his vintage Waco biplane. The biplane's Jacobs B2M radial engine consumes about 15 gallons per hour at the aircraft's cruising speed of 120 miles per hour and 18 gallons per hour at speeds above 200 miles per hour. So the 214 qualifies for that. The plane will take off from Love Field General Aviation in Fort Worth, Texas, and fly 120 miles at cruising speed. So if we're flying at 120 miles per hour and we're going to cover 120 miles, it's going to take us an hour to do it. So we got our 15 gallons of fuel burn. And then, okay, I lost my spot. I'm back. And then, for 30 minutes near its top cruising speed of 214 miles. So that's a half hour. Our fuel consumption rate is 18 gallons per hour. So 30 minutes, we will burn 9. So 15 plus 9 is 24. And then at the end, it says if the pilot must put in enough fuel for his trip, plus an additional 5 gallons, how much fuel is needed? We add 5 to 24. We get B, answer B, which is 29 gallons. And you guys can Alrighty. Okay. Gotta scroll back. Who's in the room? Test type. ASTB. Cody's in the room. Melissa, how are you, Melissa? Good to see you. Send some questions. Nick, you can send some questions as well if you take pictures. If you come across anything that you don't understand. Maria, good to see you as well. Greg Ferguson. I don't remember ever seeing your name, but welcome to the room anyway. We're here every Friday, and dude, all you gotta do is send in questions. You don't understand, I help you solve them. Hey Kino, saw you were live. Thanks for all the videos. You helped me score 10 points higher on my second AFOQT non-rated scores. Pilot and Navigator scores at 98. Your hard work is appreciated, and I thank you very much. And tell everybody in your unit about me if you're an Air Force Junior ROTC, not Junior, AF ROTC. And, you know, hey, just tell people about the channel. I believe I'm the only guy doing this, and I mean, no, not really, because I see other videos and stuff like that, but I like to think that I'm the most passionate, and you know, there it is. Okay, so looking for more questions, guys. This is where you guys get to abuse me. Like, just send them questions. Send them more questions. Don't let them get off. Okay. So, looking. You guys study hard, man. Because, you know, you guys are in a situation where you're running into a testing pool and you never know what you're going to get. I did, wow. Okay, I didn't even, I guess, I don't know. I guess I didn't respond to that. I don't know. 555. Okay. There's a lot of... I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of like in my own world for just a hot minute. That's all. Thomas Cruiser, that was him. He got a 62. I can't find... Doesn't go back that far. Okay. All right. Okay. What do I want to touch on? I wanted to talk about a Sift topic. And the Sift topic that I want to discuss is and for you guys that don't know, the United States Army helicopter pilots have to take a test called the Sift. And basically it is called the Standard Instrument for Flight Training. And there's a concept that I want to discuss because I said I will at least do one topic on Sift topics. So we have our main rotor blade, and it kind of forms like a rotor disc as it rotates. So we got here, we got one main rotor, and we got our other rotor, and stuff like that. And I know that's not really symmetrical, but what you have to understand is that as this rotor rotates, certain points of the rotor are going to move at different speeds as the main rotor rotates. And so, we'll use a different color. So let's say this point is rotating at 90 miles per hour. And this point is moving at 200 miles an hour. And then this outer point is moving at 400 miles per hour. Different parts of the rotor are moving at different speeds. Now, this is moving at 90 miles per hour, but it really doesn't cover much area. This part of the rotor moves at the same rate, so it's moving faster. And then the outer tip is moving at 400 at this point. So what's going to happen is we're going to get uneven distribution. Now I'm going to cut this out for a minute, and let's look at a helicopter from a side view. And rule number one, do not laugh at my artwork. I'm sensitive about that. No, not really. So here's a helicopter. Here's the body of the helicopter. All right, nice little tail rotor and some skids. What's going to happen is, in this situation, we're going to get uneven lift distribution because this part of the rotor is moving so fast. It's going to form like a, what's up with the colors on this? So the lift distribution is going to look like, this vector should actually be long. Okay, so it's going to look like a little shape like this, where we have more lift being produced by the outer part of the rotor tip than we do the inside, and that is only because it is moving slower when we get near the mast or the rotor hub. All right, so this is an unequal distribution of lift, and I've shown it or drawn it out so you can see it graphically. And this is because, and this is almost double the 200. Now these numbers are not fixed numbers. If you guys are clear and you guys understand what I just explained, and if not, I will, talk about it again or try to make it simpler. But just give me, just somebody type in clear if they understood what I just explained. And I know that there is a delay. Gotta stay hydrated. All right. Thanks, Nick. All right. We'll just move forward with one clear. Okay. All right. No. Copy this. I just have to. And let's go find it. All right. Here is a second question. All right. Now, in this question, what we're doing is we have a paragraph that is given to us, and we have to explain what is going on mathematically. Okay, so Jonathan wants to find the average number of miles traveled per day by his 3-day road trip. Since he is an engineer, he decides to set up the problem algebraically. If he drove A miles the first day, B miles the second day, and C miles the third day, what is the formula for the average number of miles driven per day? And that would be pretty easy. That would be C. Because sometimes in a testing situation, what will happen is you will have some weird algebraic expression, or they may ask you to convert. So what you could do in that situation is you can make up your own situation. And so I could say, all right, and I'll read the question again. Jonathan wants to find the average number of miles traveled per day on his 3-day road trip, and he's an engineer. He wants to set up the problem algebraically. So if I got lost and I said, you know what, I don't remember what Keno said, then I would set up the situation. So I'd say, okay, I drove 10 miles this day, 15 miles this day, and 35 miles this day. All right. If I want to find the average, I'm going to add the sum of all this up, which would be 60? No, 50, yeah, 60. And then I would just divide by 3. So basically, answer C is the correct answer, and it looks like this, because what they've done in the question is they said he drove A miles, then B miles, and then C miles the third day. So in that case, it would be A plus B plus C, and then we would just divide it by 3. So the answer that they give us is A plus B plus C over 3, which just means divided by 3. When we put it, could look like this, or it could look like that. Okay, it means the same thing. The slant 3 if it's all in line or in fractional form. But the sum of A, B, and C is going to be divided by 3 in all these cases, or these 3 numbers. So sometimes when I'm kind of feeling a little lost or whatever, then I'll just set up a situation and say to myself, well, how would I find the average? And that's what I would do here. And so it'll take you a little bit more time, but if you nail the answer, that's like the most important thing. So Nick, thank you for sending that question. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. This is your, can you use mechanics, please? All right. What topic would you like me to explain in particular, Maria? More importantly, I mean, I could talk about a lot of stuff. But you want it more on the mechanical side or the physics side? And things have been going. What I will do is every week I'll talk about the 3 laws of motion. So everybody coming to the live stream can get it hammered in their head. So when you're asked, what are the 3 laws of motion? All right, and that is a mechanical comprehension topic. But think of something else, Maria, because we want to get as much as possible in our hour. Okay, Sir Isaac Newton has 3 laws of motion. Okay. Well, number 1, an object at rest will remain at rest, and an object in motion will remain in motion. I'm just trying to give it to you in layman's terms so you can easily remember it. So, an object at rest will remain at rest. I have this bottle of hand lotion. It's very cold in New Jersey, and so got to stay moisturized. Okay, so it's in my hand. It is at rest as long as it's sitting here in my hand, or if it was on my desk, and nothing's going to bother it. So this object at rest will remain at rest, and if it was in motion, it will remain in motion. Think about this bottle. It's not moving until the outside force, boom, knocks it over. Now it's moving. Now let's say I was 20 feet high. Let's say, I don't know, I had some type of elevated office area and it was 20 feet down. All right, so it starts to fall. It's going to continue in motion and it's going to remain in motion until the outside force stops it, being the floor. Once it hits the floor, boom, it's going to stop. So Newton's first law of motion, an object at rest will remain at rest. An object in motion will remain in motion unless some outside force acts on it. All right, to change its direction or stop it, whatever, what have you. Newton's second law of motion is normally expressed in a formula. F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. The force is labeled in units of newtons, Sir Isaac Newton. The mass in kilograms, and acceleration is in meters per second squared. All right, so if you got a question like, I always use about 1,200 pound cow. All right, because some questions will be like, well, how much does this cow weigh? And all the answers will be in newtons. Well, if he's a 1,200 kilogram, I didn't mean to say pound, 1,200 kilogram cow, and gravity acts on objects at 9.8 meters per second squared, then it will be the 1,200 kilogram cow times 9.8. And our answer, when we multiply that, that would be in newtons. Now, for rapid math, I would not deal with 1,200. I would just multiply 12 times 98, then add the 2 zeros, and then keep the decimal. And so, Maria, I would like to know what that is in newtons, please. And make sure you keep in mind that decimal place is there. All right, and then we'll move on to the third law, and then I believe someone else has sent a question in, and I will start looking for that. We'll wait for Maria or everybody in the room. Anybody in the room can do it. All right. Melissa, I see your question, and we will address that next after the third law of motion. Okay. And I realize there's a time delay. Where are we at, Maria? You got this. 1,200 kilogram cow times gravitational pull, which is the acceleration. How many newtons is it going to force on a scale? If the scale was in units of newtons. Anybody in the room could do it. Let's do it as a team. Let's not just leave it all up to Maria. 1,200 times 9.8. $11,760. Does anybody else in the room? Okay, we got a second one. Very good, very good, very good. Do we have a third? Gone once, gone twice. Sold. Okay, we'll go with that. So 11,760 newtons is what the cow would be exerting, the 1,200 kilogram cow would be exerting on the scale. So a lot of times in the aptitude test, I'll ask you, how much does this 1,200 kilogram cow weigh? Now, a lot of people be like, well, 1,200 kilograms. No. 1,200 kilograms accounts for the mass. If you take an 18-wheeler and an aircraft carrier, it's the stuff that makes it up. That's what the mass is. It's the stuff that makes it up. All right. And obviously, an aircraft carrier has more mass than an 18-wheeler tractor-trailer vehicle. So, you know, mass is accounting for the amount of stuff or space that something takes up. You could have something very, very, like, okay, I have the mass of this lip medics. This is lip balm, right? And I could take a balloon and it'd be that big. Well, that balloon would be taking up more space, so the balloon would have more mass than this lip medics thing, the lip balm. So, you know, and that's right, black people get ashy lips. We got to stay moisturized. Anyway, but, you know, that's how you got to think of mass when they give you, when you're working a force equals mass times acceleration. All right. So I think everybody got that because, you know, we got a couple people that came in and, you know, they executed the problem as well. Now, the next item is Newton's third law of motion, which states that for every force, there's an equal opposite force. Sometimes they say for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. Either one will do. If someone says, oh, what's Newton's third law of motion? For every force, there's an equal opposite force. Or if you say for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. You know, hey, either one works for me. You know what I'm saying? If I'm teaching or whatever, if I'm teaching a physics class, and I'm asking you, if you gave me for every force, there's an equal opposite force. Or for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. It's basically the action reaction law. Or the law of action reaction, and that would be Newton's third law of motion. So we'll actually talk about like a physics or mechanical concept every week, so you guys can slowly but surely get it all. And I'd like to give a shout out to all my aviation pre-flight indoctrination prep people and my undergraduate pilot training prep people. These are the guys that they've already taken their test, and they're either going to be a student naval aviator or undergraduate pilot training applicant. And I have a really, really good program that you guys should know, because you want to be ahead of the game. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of information that's smashed into a little bit of time. So my concept is know before you go. Have an idea before you go. At least, have, an idea of what's going to happen, what to expect, and things of that nature, because you're going to be under a lot of stress. And so my job is to kind of ease the pain a little bit. And we use the phrase called getting you winged, which means earning your wings when you get your wings. Okay. Okay. Our next question comes in from Melissa. And the question is basically asking, we have a cylinder. What is a cylinder, you might ask? Kind of like a can. This is pretty much, it's not a cylinder, but it's kind of close, because it's kind of, this kind of gets oval shape, but it's kind of like a Pepsi can or something like that. We have a circle on the top. We have a height. Okay, but keep in mind the circle on the top that we're taking into consideration, and the height. Now, pi r squared h. Pi r squared h, yeah. So that is the volume of a cylinder. And pi r squared h, I'm going to write it on the board. Don't freak out, guys. All right, so first thing I want to remind you guys is that when we're talking about the area of a circle, not circumference, but area, pi r squared. Pi equals 3.14. R is the radius squared. And strange, this tells us how much area that the circle is covering. So it's very, very strange that the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. I'm giving you this as a parallel. So if you ever get a question of, okay, what is the volume of a cylinder, then all you got to do is think about area of a circle first. So in a cylinder, which would be like a can, like that, and like that, we have area that we're going to take into consideration, and we're going to take in the height as well. So pi r squared just went to pi r squared times the height. So it's considering the whole entire volume of this can. Not just how tall it is, or how wide it is, or how much distance is around the circle. We're taking in this whole, I guess, like the mass that it's going to take, or the amount of space that it's going to take up. So whenever I'm thinking about volume, pi r squared, not volume, area of a circle, pi r squared, I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to visualize in my mind. Pi r squared h would be the volume for the, would be the formula for the volume of a cylinder. So now, okay, the base of the cylindrical can is a circle whose diameter is 2 inches. So they're saying if we look at this can from the bottom, the whole diameter, not the radius, is 2 inches. The height is 7 inches. And how many cubic inches are there in the volume of the can? And it says use 22/7, which is basically 3.14 for the value of pi. So that's what they tell you. Use 22/7, but just use 3.14. It all equals pi. Like that, or that's the symbol, or the letters pi. like that. So all we need to do is pi r squared h. Now me, I'm kind of funny about order of operations. So PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And it really doesn't matter, actually, because half of the diameter is the radius, which is 1 inch. It's 1 inch. So we can even just throw that out, because anything multiplied by 1 is going to be itself. So all we're really working with is 3.14 times 7. Can someone in the room please calculate that for me and let me know what you guys come up with? Our answers are 12 and 4 over 7, 22 cubic, and these are all in cubic inches, 44 and 88. These look a little suspicious to me. The double-digit numbers, just 3 in a row. So, I mean, I would keep that in mind. That does look a little suspicious. Okay, but 21.98 is the answer that Maria came up with. So it looked a little suspicious, but this rounds up to 22. So I would go with answer B. That question was for Melissa, and Melissa, was that clear? That I explained that clearly enough? Got my lotion, my carpet freshener. I'm looking at it all in the, on the screen. Can't see the screen. The carpet freshener's in the way, man. I'm trying to learn. Very good, Melissa. And also, I thank everybody for being here and participating. All right. Let's see. Some pretty good questions. Some pretty good questions. Okay, this is a little weird. This question, I believe I can put it on the timeline. Calling it a timeline, but I mean the message board. I just make up my own vocabulary sometimes. So I presented the question on the message board. What it is saying is, what is the number of square inches in the area of a circle whose diameter is 28 inches? Question feels a little weird to me, but let's just see if we can't dissect it and pull it apart. So, word problems, again and again and again, you hear me every week. How do we solve word problems? Line by line and diagram. Normally, if you line by line and diagram, you can stay out of trouble. Now, if you're all taking aptitude tests, if this is a question such that it might be taking a little bit too much time, pick an answer, take a stab at it, and just move on. Because you will, it'll just allot you more time for other questions that you will probably know the answers to, and you build your point score like that. Okay, so what is the number of square inches in the area of a circle whose diameter is 28 inches? And is that what it says verbatim? What is the number of square inches in the area whose diameter is 28? A circle whose diameter is 28. Well, if we have a circle and its diameter is 28 inches, then this is diameter. The radius is 14. Radius is always half the diameter. And let me just do a little bit of quick research. Really, really quick. One moment. Because here's the thing. Well, did it ask that? Because if we define area, then we're looking for, if we're looking for area, we're looking for square inches. But the thing is what is the number of square inches? And okay, in the area. Okay, so I just wanted to be clear because it just said number. So I would have just preferred they just said what is the area of the circle whose diameter is 28 inches. All right. So area, like I said before, is pi r squared. All right, pi r squared. All right. The pi is going to be 3.14. Again, they hit you with this 22/7. It's pi, 3.14, guys. So we have to square 14 because r squared, 14 squared. So we have to deal with that first. Let me see what our answers are, just so. The area is, the answers are 616, 88, 44, 1232, and 22. I guarantee you it's not 15, 225, 225. I'm thinking it's 616. And I'm just guesstimating because 15 squared is 225, and then if we just use 3, I think of 200 times 3 is around 600. So I would go with 616 just by looking at it. All right, and as your test taking skills and your math skills increase, you'll be able to kind of look at stuff and estimate it. I would stab 616 and keep moving, but we're not going to do it like that. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. 14 times 14. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1, 5, 0, 1, 4. And we will get 196. All right. If I make an error, please just let me know. So 14 times 14, 16, 56. 1014, 196. Okay, so we'll take the 196, and at this point, if we still multiply this by 3, it's still going to wind up around 600. These numbers are spaced so far apart. This is what I'm saying. This is a time-saving technique. All right, but we'll work it all the way out. I pegged 600 around 600, which is the first answer, 616, like 60 seconds ago, something like that. All right, so we'll multiply this times 3.14. 24, 38, 7, 0, 1, 9, 6, 0, 0, 18, 28, 5. All right. 4, 14, 1, 16, 25, 2, 11, 6. 2 decimal points. So I've computed 615.44. Which I would just go with A. So there's our answer. If you guys need me to recap, please state so, and I will do it. But I think we nailed it. And you can check the back of the book if you needed to. I kind of got stuck on the way the question was worded, though. But then when it said area of a circle, when I saw that, I was like, okay. So sometimes you're really going to have to take your time and just scan the question. Because to me, I think the more simpler question is, what is the area of a circle? Because it's going to be in square units. All right. So I would have just like, okay, what is, the area of a circle's diameter is 28 inches. It's going to be in square inches, our final number, which is 65144 square inches. So I got a little thrown off by the way that the question was worded. Yeah, that's what caught me, the wording. Yeah, so the wording is very important, but when I just slowed down and analyzed it. And, you know, like, hey, okay, that's all they're asking for. But I was just like, why the heck did you word it like that? The test makers are crazy. Don't tell them I said it. All right. Okay. Okay. Now, to be honest with you, I have not done a mixture reduction problem in ages. Okay. So I want you guys to hold me on the hook. This will be the first problem that I will do on the live stream next week. Basically, the question states there are 12 liters of a mixture of acetone and alcohol that is 33.33 or 33 1/3% acetone. How many liters of alcohol must be added to the mixture to reduce it to a mixture containing 25% acetone? All right, we're gonna hold on. We're gonna hold on that one, and let me do some research on that because I can't give you the formula right off the top of my head because I can't remember it. And so, you know me, I'm not gonna give you any bad information because the trolls are always watching. They're always watching. Oh, look, Keno made a mistake. I'm like, really? You know what I'm saying? Try to help people. Nobody cares. Like, oh, made a mistake. 90, 95, all other percent of information is good, but you make one mistake and everybody pays attention. So I thank you for that question. And I will actually, we're going to meet and I'll probably have the question for you. But guys that come every week, keep me on the hook for that question, please. So I can erase Nick's question first for the next live stream, and then I'll put Melissa's question first. Mixture. All right, as a little reminder. Okay, so I'll come back to this. And see, the reason why, I mean, I could toil with it and come to the answer, but I like to give you guys an answer that's recordable and that it's easy for you guys to kind of see my step by step and replicate it. For this, I'd probably just be like, boom, I'll be over here and then looking here and looking here. And then I try to avoid that. I want to have like a nice little direct hit type of approach to the solution or to the solving of that question. So, you know, again, and I say it all the time, do I know everything? No, I don't know everything right off the top of my head. Some things I forget. But I will be back next week with that question, and I will have a nice, simple solution or simple approach to the solution. That is that. Okay. Now, a lot of you guys are taking the full aviation selection test battery, and you probably do not get enough aviation and nautical information. So I would like to provide you with some hard numbers that you could believe in. Like Keno wrote it, you can believe it. Okay. We're going to talk about distance a little bit. And when you drive, you're actually driving what's called a statute mile. Okay. Boats and airplanes operate by a nautical mile. Okay. So we have statute miles. And we have nautical miles, which are like boat and air miles. So this is for the car or if you're on foot. And this is for the airplane or boat. Okay, so you guys are traditionally used to operating, and if more questions pop up, just send them. I'm looking at my email right now, and something will pop up if something comes up. But I go into something else when I don't see any more questions. But the statute mile is the car mile. So 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. In the nautical mile world, 1 nautical mile is equal to 6,076 feet. Okay. So when you're traveling, oh, well, I clocked the guy, the police officer that pulled you over. I clocked the guy at going 60 miles in a 55 miles per hour. If a radar operator was clocking a boat or an aircraft, let's go with the airplane. The ATC caught an airplane exceeding the speed limit. And yes, there is a speed limit below 10,000 feet. All right, below 10,000 feet, you should not be any faster than 250 knots. So we are actually going to say we clocked this airplane at 250 kph, which is knots per hour. All right. So this is going at a rate in miles per hour, mph, and this is going in knots. So when we're flying below 10,000 feet, we must slow our airplanes down to 250 knots. We don't say miles per hour. It's not knots per hour. KNOTS, just like you're tying the knot. Like if you're getting married, you're tying a knot. All right. So 1 statute mile is 5,280. Air mile or boat mile is 6,076. Now, it is important to understand that a knot is 15% more than a statute mile, or a nautical mile is 15% more. So if I have 1 nautical mile, this will turn out to be 1.15 statute miles. If I had 100 nautical miles, then this would be 115 statute miles. Just to give you guys a baseline, because, you know, you guys probably aren't in contact with flight instructors or maybe pilots and stuff like that. And so there's really not anybody to explain that to you. So to recap, our car miles are statute miles. When you're on a highway and it says Albuquerque, New Mexico, 100 miles, they're speaking in terms of statute miles. If I tell you, hey, our destination is 3,000 miles away, I'm talking about nautical miles, because we're going to be flying in knots. That's what pilots and I guess captains of a ship would be moving in knots. 5,000 statute mile, 5,280. The nautical mile, 6,076 feet, 6,067. And we also noted that the nautical mile is 15% more than a statute mile. So the nautical mile is longer than the car mile. All right. So I don't see any questions, and it is 9:55, and this is kind of where I do my little closeout thingamajig. So to close, I'd like to, first of all, thank you guys for coming out, and thank you, Leon. I'd like to thank you guys for coming out. I'm here every Friday from 9 to 10 for my live stream. After the live stream, I host a special hour for my clients that have worked with me during the week. Oh, I just told you, every Friday night, 9 to 10. For my clients, I also do a 10 to 11 o'clock session. But it is in a Google Hangout, so we can talk back and forth with each other. And they can physically bring questions instead of, like I do this in this lecture format. You guys send me emails, you take pictures with your smartphone, and you send questions that you don't understand. Legend of Boogie, thank you. Thank you very much. Or is that Boggle or Boo? Oh, okay. Looks like Boogie. You can contact me at Keno Thomas. Okay, if I can get this thing. All right, I'm putting my email. At gmail.com, or you can go to stemwithkeno.com. All right, STEM with Keno. STEM means science, technology, engineering, and math. With Keno.com. So you could send me an email, or you can go to my website, and you can just kind of see some of the things that we do, some of the things we talk about. But basically, the live stream, I do it every week, unless something comes up. From 9 to 10, and then 10 to 11 is for my clients. And the cool thing about it is if you've been with me a couple times during that week, during that 10 to 11 session, it's free. All right, February 15th. Okay, well, if you are taking it, dude, you need to get with me if you're going to come to me for tutoring, because honestly, I think a good preparation block of time, and I'm just saying if you are where you need to be, is about roughly 2 months. Some people have taken it less time than that, and done wonderfully. But everybody's at different levels, so I can't assume that, it's going to take you this amount of time. Because that's one thing that, people, how much time do you think it's going to take? I don't know. I don't know where you are. And I have to kind of see how you handle math and mechanical concepts and things of that nature. And then, but about 2 months is normally like good. Prep has has been okay in less time than that, but you really, really got to bust your ass. Seriously, you really got to be in the books. You got to be dedicated. And hey, if you want to be shot off that carrier flying and buzzing around, or that naval intelligence officer, or whatever, you're going to have to bring the scores. There's no playing around. None, dude. Like, I can't even, I'm telling you, and you still really don't realize in the way I'm telling you how serious it is. You got to be on it. You got to be studying. You got to be in those books. You got to be about that math, man. I'm telling you. And that's why I do this every week. Most people have problems with word problems. They hate word problems because, honestly, I'm going to say it. The hardest thing for people to do is think. They don't want to think. They just say, no, I just want to hit a button and then, and then, okay. But people, you got, if you're going to be in this game, you're going to be a military officer, naval officer, Air Force officer, any officer, doesn't matter, any branch in the military. You're going to be leading people. You're going to have to be a thinker, because you're going to be leading people, and then they have to believe in you. Okay? So, you're their superior, and they're calling you sir for a reason, or ma'am, because you have a certain level of intelligence, and you know how to analyze information, process it, and then decide the best course of action. So this is just the beginning. This is really just the beginning. And if you can't handle it, don't worry about it. Just keep coming to the live streams and everything. Go through your book. Mark off what you don't understand. That's like a slow process. Like if you just did live streams and stuff like that, probably in the period of like maybe 6 to 7 months, just seeing things work over and over again, you could possibly be prepared. Not for the full ASTB, because there's a lot of information that I don't even talk about. It's just private information that I've retained from my clients. I can't give you the whole story, but this is something. I am giving you something. I'm, dedicate time to my channel, and stuff. Also, another thing is you want to get in before New Year's, because the prices are changing. If you have tutored with me prior to New Year's, or December 31st of this year, 2017, I'm still going to honor the prices that you started with. If you come with me all after that, you're going to be subject to the new pricing schedule, which is going to be higher. So I would not hesitate, because, my team, we've been sitting around thinking about this and everything. And, there's people that charge $70, $80, and they don't even guarantee you pass. You know what I'm saying? And they just kind of smack some computer stuff together. I actually analyze how you study, how you look at, how you approach math and stuff like that. And I do little time shaving techniques that I show you and stuff like that. So it's one-on-one. It's not like, okay, you pay some unknown person, you buy a book from somebody you don't know. You know me. You see me here every week. I'm dedicated, and I want to see you pass, and I want you to tell everybody how wonderful I am. A little plug in there for me, right? I want you to be like, yo, this guy Keno, dude, you taking ASTB? Don't go anywhere else. Get your book, get in contact with him, because he's going to get you. So my latest ASTB guy that just passed is Hayden. Hayden did really, really good. He exceeded 50. If you exceed 50, you are good to go. If you hit 60, you're really good to go. But 50 is definitely, you got to break 50. Now, people have gotten flight contracts with high 40s. It has happened. But I'd rather be that 50 guy or that 60 guy when my packet was presented. Because then, you know, they probably won't look too far. Like, and I mean, there's a lot of things that make up. They look at your statement. They look at a lot of stuff. Of course, your background, what you're doing, your GPA, all that and everything like that. To see if you have the makings of even being a military officer and stuff like that. So that's it. We are past our time. If you are interested in the Google Hangout, please send me an email. Don't type it here. Send me an email. So when I set it up, I can, what am I trying to say? So send it to my email, KIENOTHOMAS@gmail.com, and you can just scroll up in the timeline. So with that being said, I'm going to sit, I'm going to look for my emails and see who wants to come into the Google Hangout, and probably in roughly 5 to 10 minutes, I guess, or so, we will get that rolling. And if you are, this is for my clients only, like I said before, I reserved that time for them, and it's a video chat, so I can hear you like you're hearing me now, and you can ask questions. Hey, I don't understand this question, and you can present it to the room and stuff. So send those emails out. I'll be here 9 p.m. next week, 9 to 10. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and please hit the like or dislike button, either one, but just hit it. And I'd like to thank you guys for taking time out to come and check me out. And this is where I do my little finger thing. Goodbye, guys. Bang.